am I the astronaut for not making my brother and his fiancée a wedding cake after they refused to pay me? I, 25, love to bake. It's a big passion of mine and something I love to do as a hobby in my free time. I have an Instagram account that I use to show off my work, which is mainly the cakes I bake and decorate. I make these cakes for family and friends for birthdays or special occasions, Christmas, Easter, etc. I never charge for these cakes, but I'm always compensated in some way by my family and friends. They'll usually gift me money or a gift card to my favorite restaurants or make me a dish in return as a thank you. It's like the 16-year-old girl from the last story has grown up. And here she is. My younger brother, 23 male, and his fiancée, 23 female, were planning their wedding and asked me a few months in advance if I'd be able to make their cake for them. This would be my biggest order yet. They wanted a 3-layer cake, wedding was 75 people, and the flavor of strawberry shortcake as it's their favorite. I was hesitant at first but agreed to make the cake, under the condition that I was compensated for it. I explained to them that it was the biggest order I've ever had, and it was going to take up a lot of my time, labor, and be costly. I gave them a very fair price for a cake of that caliber. They agreed. I also made it clear that I wanted to be paid before the wedding. I provided them multiple sketches of what the cake would look like, made a practice batch of the actual cake so that they could sample, and they loved the cake and approved of everything. Fast forward to last week, 6 days before the wedding. I contacted my brother for my payment as I was going to get started on buying the rest of the ingredients for the cake, minus the strawberries. I was going to do that closer to the date so they could be fresh. He assured me he'd drop off my check the next day. Next day came, brother went MIA and no check arrived. So I tried to contact him again. Next day came, no check again. I offered to drive to their house and pick up the check. They made an excuse that it didn't work with their schedules. So the day before the wedding, I contacted both my brother and his fiancée asking again. They blew up on me, telling me that I'm a selfish bitch for charging them when I don't charge the rest of my family and that they refused to pay, but demanded me to make the cake. What? I said no and explained my terms again. They called me a selfish asshole and said I better make the damn cake. I again said no. So the day of the wedding, I decided not to attend due to the amount of disrespect they showed me. Well, my brother, his fiancée, and her family are now blowing up my phone, sending me all kinds of nasty messages. My family are trying to stay out of it, but don't think I should have screwed them like that. Am I the asshole for not making the cake after they refused to pay? Info, I was charging them $400. They would have had to pay any business to do this, and she explained ahead of time, yes, she does cakes without a payment required for other family members that are much smaller projects. This was going to be a massive project, which is why it was going to cost actual money. Also, everyone else that she did a cake for compensated her in some way. It wasn't going to be free, no matter what. You know what I mean? A $400 for a 3-tier cake for 75 people is probably a pretty damn good deal. And they sampled it and loved it. She did a practice run on it. Like she's got a lot of time and cost into this. She's going to need the money to make the cake. She's got to go get all the ingredients. It's not like she just snaps her fingers and goes out to the garden and gets all of her cake materials from it. It's not like that. Here's something that we have to think about. To this point, she had only done unpaid projects. This was going to be her biggest one yet. If she was doing wedding cakes as an official gig, this is a side passion project for her. She does this for fun. What she ends up doing for people, they compensate her somehow for. If this was an official small business, I'd say, yeah, this is like a fresh books kind of thing. You need some kind of signed agreement up front. You need some kind of formal payment system in place up front, 50% down, 50% like within a week, or 50% due a week before the actual event, some kind of structure like that. And if she was going into actual business for this, it would probably be, she'd probably get to that point. In this case, it was just the biggest one yet. It's the first thing that she's tackled like this, and she had to have that money up front to be able to have the materials to even make the cake. So they're like, no, we're not paying you, make the cake. And she's like, how exactly would you like me to do that? You snap my fingers. You want me to go in the hole making this cake? You want me to invest all this time and for me to just pay for all the materials and receive no compensation for it whatsoever? And then want me to go to your wedding and sit there and pretend like I'm happy about it too? No thanks. They agreed to pay up front and then they reneged on it, and that is not okay. They knew that what they were doing was wrong. And I wonder what they told the rest of the family, because if the rest of the family is as pissed as they are, I'm guessing that there was no cake at the wedding. And you know what? Weddings get expensive. They could have had a lot of runaway expenses that ate into the funds that they had set aside for this cake and just couldn't pull it off. And if that's the case, like, say that up front. And I'm guessing that OP would have been like, hey, I get it. But I'm guessing that you guys are going to get some money as wedding gifts. Like, just write. I need a written guarantee for you that like the day after the wedding you will pay, or 1 week after, or whatever it is. I'm sure she would have been understanding if it was some kind of good reason for it, but that wasn't the case here. They were just shitty about it. And then afterwards got the whole family to be shitty as well. Well, that's going to solve your problems. It's not going to make a cake appear on your wedding day. They just didn't want it to be their fault to all these other people. So they had to project that blame onto someone else. You ain't gonna pay, you ain't gonna get no cake.